So welcome to Elevate Your Research. Today, we're going to be talking about some different tools and resources available to you here from UK libraries. So let's dive on in if I can get my slides to work. I'm going to spend a good chunk of time on this guide that we created. It's the Research and Publishing in Health Sciences Guide. It kind of synthesizes all the information located across UK libraries. So let's go on and get into that. And then we'll come back to the slides and I'll talk about some other tools. So let me share my other screen here. Okay, so this is the Research and Publishing in Health Science Guide. It is organized into 3 sections: Elevate Your Research, Organize Your Research, and Publish Your Research. Under Elevate Your Research, you're going to find things about impact factor and citation analysis. So if you're interested in learning about the tools available at UK libraries for conducting your citation analysis, you can find that here. We have Web of Science, Scopus, and Google Scholar are probably the 3 tools that are best fit to do this. And so I think you can even see some of your H-index here, but we also provide information on how to calculate your H-index. And then some advantages and disadvantages. So if you are an early career researcher, your H-index isn't going to be very high because all of your articles are fairly new. So in order to be cited, they need to be around a little bit longer. So we just talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages of H-index here. We also provide 2 resources for journal impact. That is JCR, the Journal Citation Reports, and Scopus. So JCR is kind of the original impact factor. It's the one that's most widely used. It's calculated at 2- and 5-year periods. And you can access that here from this page, also from our database list. It uses Web of Science to calculate impact factor. So sometimes there's not articles in JCR, though it is very comprehensive. Some Elsevier titles might not be in there. So there's also Scopus, and they use something called CiteScore. It is another form of impact factor. The difference is really the window in which it is calculated. It's calculated at 3 years. Both of these programs have pros and cons to their calculation windows. I don't think there's that big of a difference between them. Just you can use them and kind of see which one fits your needs best. And again, the impact factor is looking at a journal level. It's not looking at an author level metric. So the author level metrics are kind of up here in the citation analysis piece, while impact factor is a journal level metric. Also, 2 other tools about elevating your own research is to set up both Scopus and ORCID IDs. ORCID ID is a persistent and unique identifier for you. It's like a social security number for your research profile. It's becoming required by a lot of grant organizations. NIH, NSF, I believe, are all requiring you to have an ORCID ID. Even journals are requesting you to have an ORCID ID. And it's really helpful, especially if you've had different spelling variations or there's a spelling error, or if you used your middle initial and then you haven't. This unique identifier will help kind of sync all of your information into one place. Scopus ID is exactly the same thing. If you have been published in a journal that is indexed inside of Scopus, you will automatically have a Scopus ID created for you by Elsevier. And I'll talk a little bit up here in a moment about Scholars at UK. That is not provided by UK libraries, but your Scopus ID, which is available inside of Scopus, can be accessed through UK libraries. And this Scopus ID ties to Scholars at UK because it's all an Elsevier product. The Scopus ID can provide you metrics such as H-index, your citation counts, and your publication and co-author kind of map. That said, this is only unique to things inside of Scopus. So it's an Elsevier product, so it is geared not as much into the humanities and other areas. You can actually link your Scopus ID and your ORCID ID. I recommend doing it. I have typed out instructions here on how to do it, and that will help autofill stuff into your ORCID ID. So that's about all that I have about measuring your impact and elevating your own research. Under Under Organize Your Research, we have different tools available to you here at UK Libraries. We do provide a research data management guide and some services. We can help you describe, share, find, and plan for your data management. This is becoming increasingly important with the changes at granting institutions as well as funding organizations. Data management plans are becoming a required piece, and it needs to be well written. So if you have any questions, I recommend checking out this research data management guide. We are considering revamping it, so it might change in the near future. But you can find different tools and links, and you can always reach out to me or on this guide. If you go to the research data management guide, you can find a contact us page, and you can send us an email or fill out the form. We'd be happy to help you. Another tool we provide is DMP tool. DMP tool is a resource available to you that you can select whatever funder you're trying to submit to. And then it will have a question and answer type of fill in the blank thing for you. So it will help you answer the questions needed in order to improve your data management plan. That said, if you have questions about a data management plan, you can reach out to us. Again, we're happy to help with those. Some of the questions, there is NIH guidance. We're hoping to have some UK guidance added there in the near future as well, that will link to our different guides. If you're interested in reading some publicly available DMPs, those are available here at this link. That said, that does not mean that these are quality DMPs. I've seen good ones and bad ones that are publicly available. It's just whether or not the author has chosen to make it publicly available. So just as a note there, another tool here is Open Science Framework. It is a platform that allows researchers to host their projects. This is really great if you're working with people from other institutions, because our OneDrive is pretty locked down. You have to have a UK email. So OSF has been a workaround for us in sharing different data projects and research projects that we're working on with people from various institutions. I've had some people who are working with high school students, and we've used OSF in order to work with them. That said, it is not HIPAA compliant. It is not FERPA compliant. So do not be putting any sensitive data inside of OSF. One pro of OSF is that it is funded for at least 50 years through a trust. So all of this content will be available for long-term usage. And another good thing for OSF is that if you are working on systematic reviews or other type of advanced reviews, you can actually use the registry feature inside of OSF and register your protocol. And again, you'll get a DOI for that. You can actually assign DOIs to both the registry and to a project inside of OSF. That said, it does cost them money. So they ask that you only do it when you're close to having your final product. And with a registry, you don't want to assign a DOI or publish it until it is finalized. There is versioning available in OSF, so you can track changes, which are really important for protocols. Okay, so that's all that I have in this section. So let's go back to publisher research. So this has been a page that's been developed to help researchers and students who are interested in publishing find potential journals and also navigate the landscape of academic publishing. So under this page, you can find identifying potential journals. We have tools and resources available here. You can put in your abstract and it will give you some suggestions. A lot of these are publisher based, so you might want to use several of them. So like there's an Elsevier one and a Springer one. So you might want to check out several options because we don't have one tool that's the best for every single publisher out there. And you can also search different databases and run searches in them and see what journals are popping up for your topics. That's also a way to do it. We also provide some information on choosing the right journal. So maybe journal ranking is important for you. If you want a high impact factor journal, we recommend using, again, JCR or Scopus. You might want to look at acceptance rates. So, the higher selective a journal is, the more prestigious. So if it has a low acceptance rate, the more prestigious it is. That might be something you want to look at. And then also the availability. Some disciplines are really interested in publishing in open access journals with the Open Science Initiatives. So there is the directory of open access journals available here. And we do provide a page that I'll add to this section after this meeting on different publishers that UK Libraries has agreements with that can get you a discount on APCs, so the author fees that are on the author when they want to publish in open access journals. There are different types of open access levels, which I'll talk about in a moment. And then we also provide this question answer section on how to select a journal. So we recommend talking to your mentors and colleagues. You could, of course, reach out to one of us at the Medical Center Library or at any of the libraries on campus. If you have questions about specific journals, who is your desired audience? Do you have to make it publicly available because of the public access mandates? So if you have been funded by NIH, it has to be in a journal that will put it into PubMed Central. So you have to comply with those standards. So you'll want to make sure the journal you select will be complying with those standards. Do you need to publish in a peer-reviewed journal? And do you need an expedited an expedited review process? So I know some postdocs I've worked with have a certain number of articles they have to get out in a year. And if a journal only publishes issues twice a year, that might not be a journal that you can publish in order to meet those goals that you have. So again, these are questions you can ask yourself when selecting a journal. So a note about predatory publishing. This is not fully encompassing of everything to look at for a predatory publisher. It's just a list of tools and resources available to you to kind of question journals that might be predatory or you might think are being predatory. They are often, so the difference between predatory and open access, I'm going to get into too, but predatory is really an it exploits researchers and it goes after new researchers quite frequently. Their primary goal is to make money. That said, I know every business goal is to make money, but they aren't looking at the research as trying to promote the scientific discussion. It's just really a profit-driven project. They don't adequately review articles. They sometimes editorial boards are falsified, or sometimes the editorial boards aren't great. They engage in unethical business practices, and they do not follow accepted standards of scholarly publishing. So those are the big things. We have a list of questions to ask yourself. Again, these are not everything you should ask. But, you know, like if there are falsified editorial boards, you might want to email one of the editors and see if they're really on the board. If you're concerned about a journal, you can ask authors, you can ask mentors, you can check out their website. If they have a bunch of dead links, maybe that's not a great place to publish. And then we also provide some information on what to ask about publisher fees. So does the fee fit within the standards? You can always reach out to one of us at the Medical Center Library or in UK libraries, and we can kind of help you go through like what the standard rates are. Most of those are publicly available on Springer and Taylor and Francis and Elsevier. A lot of those you can find online very easily, so you can compare it. And then we also have questions about to ask yourself about the journal title and articles inside of the journal itself. We also have tools for identifying predatory publishers here. And then getting into open access. Open access is not predatory publishing. They sometimes get conflated together because they both cost you money to publish in. So there are advantages of open access. You're going to be able to be cited more because it's publicly available. You don't retain the copyright in traditional publishing, but sometimes in open access publishing, you can retain that copyright. And it's a global initiative, so it provides access to research articles that people in low-income countries or in underfunded institutions might not be able to have access to otherwise. So those are the pros of it. Some of the disadvantages is it is a high cost. Some of them can be thousands of dollars to publish in. And there's different standards. It can be really confusing. There's gold and there's green open access. And again, the librarians here at UK Libraries would be happy to help you kind of navigate that and figure out what the publisher is meaning by different open access standards. You don't, and sometimes it depends on the standard that they're using, if it's gold or green or whatever terms they might be using, whether you maintain copyright. So open access journals are relatively new, so they might not have as high of an impact factor as other journals. That said, a lot of journals now are going to kind of a hybrid model. Some people will choose to pay the author fees in order to make their article freely available. So there are kind of, and there's also ones that have embargoes for like 12 months. There's lots of things that can happen in this landscape. And again, the moral of it is if you have questions, please reach out to us. UK Knowledge is another tool available to you. It is the University of Kentucky's digital repository. There's a LibGuide here. All of our theses and dissertations are put into UK Knowledge. You have a research profile in there. Some journals allow you to put your article into an institutional repository. I know Kentucky Libraries is a state journal here for librarians, and they allow us to put our articles into UK Knowledge, so it's freely available inside of our repository. So that's also a tool available to you here. Okay, so that's all I have here about research and publishing health sciences. I'm going to talk about a few other tools. Let me go back to my PowerPoint. So let's go on to SelectedWorks. So SelectedWorks is a resource available to you here at UK Libraries for a very short term. It's Scholars at UK is what's really taking over the author metric piece of it and the author profiles or researcher profiles. But I do want to talk a little bit still about SelectedWorks. You will still have access to your SelectedWorks profile even when UK Libraries no longer has a subscription to it, which I think will be ending sometime this year. You will still want to maintain it if you want to keep it. Scholars at UK is tied to UK. So if you wanted to maintain something that was outside of UK, SelectedWorks is a great way to do it. It is freely available. I'll show you what it looks like just in case you all are not familiar with SelectedWorks. Let me get this open and I will share it. Sorry, it's having me pick traffic lights so I can get logged in. Let me share my other screen with you. Okay. So here's SelectedWorks. I've logged in. So this, I have provided a lot of access to my presentations and some of my publications. I don't always link directly to the article, especially if they've been published in a journal that isn't open access. But I'll provide links to the abstract or to the PubMed ID so people can access the various articles. What's really nice is you can group it into articles, and I've done posters and protocols. It's completely customizable and it's really easy to add content. So even though UK Libraries will not be subscribing to this in the future, it will lose the UK branding. You'll still be able to have your SelectedWorks account if you would like. So that's about all with SelectedWorks. Go back here to my PowerPoint. Okay, Scholars at UK, I just mentioned, is going to be taking the place of the UK supported platform. Again, this is not provided by UK Libraries. It's still in the beta version, so I'm not going to show it right now. But this would be an option that's provided here at UK for UK researchers to share their different research. It also ties to the Scopus ID and ORCID as well. I've talked a little bit about Open Science Framework already, but OSF, again, can help you search and discover, design your study, collect and analyze your data, and publish your reports. And again, it is available for 50 years. It also interlinks with different tools. So like ORCID and Google Scholar and Zotero and Google Drive and R and GitHub. All this stuff can integrate into Open Science Framework. So that's what makes it a really powerful tool for project management. And again, I talked a little bit about ORCID earlier. These slides will be available on the research workshop page, as well as I believe in the email you will receive after this workshop. But ORCID, these are all the pros of it. It's now being required, like I said earlier, and we do have instructions here on how to create an ORCID ID. It's a really quick process, really easy to do. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I talked a little bit about data management earlier, but I want to talk some more about why you should manage your data. So a 2013 study found that poor data management practices have led to a concerning loss of scientific research data, with 80% of it available after 20 years. So why is this important? You need to manage it to be a responsible researcher, to make collaboration easier, be a good steward, and make it reusable and reproducible. And that's the big thing. Like sharing, I think, has been this discussion about making it available at conferences and in publications. But what the data management plans and what organizations like NIH are wanting is to make this data available to more researchers so new research can be conducted on the data sets. So sharing isn't just making it available through presentations and publications, it's making the data itself available and making the metadata that makes it reusable and reproducible available as well. And again, why NIH, NSF, NEH, IMLS, journals, Nature and JAMA are both going to be or are all already requiring you to publish your data, as well as data repositories in your organization or your university or your college may be requiring you to do so in the future. If you're not familiar, a lot of the data management plans revolve around the data lifecycle. There are several of them. This is the one I usually teach from. It is the Data One lifecycle. And these are the areas you really need to answer in order or have answers to how you're going to handle these different areas of the data lifecycle when creating a data management plan. If you have questions, again, please feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help if you're unfamiliar with the life cycle or what a DMP entails. We're always here to help. So UK libraries can help with plan, describe, preserve, and discover. These are kind of our areas of expertise. We might be able to provide some feedback on some of the other areas, but these are the ones librarians excel at. We are really good at planning. We're really good at describing because that's what we do. And we're really good at preserving and discovering. So making things available 10 years from now is very different from just having it in a storage medium. And I talked a little bit about DMP tool already. It's a really great tool for working on data management plans. I want to do a little note about Endnote. So Endnote is a software program that helps you manage your citations. It is freely available to you here at University of Kentucky, and it links to our databases. So it will find full text for you, which is really great. We have these Endnote Bite sessions over here that are recorded on the right side of the guide. These are no more than 15 minutes and they walk you through the different areas. So you don't have to watch one big hour-long session. You can actually just go to these individual ones, but we do have a full tutorial over on the left side. So please, we highly recommend looking at Endnote and using it. It's a really great tool. And I want to do a little plug. This is our last workshop series of the semester. Last week, we did one on our new systematic review and evidence synthesis guide. And I will actually show that as well. Let me get that shared. So this is the new systematic review guide. We have a lot of new tools on here. This is, if you're interested in learning more about this, we recommend going to this guide. We also have released a brand new protocol development tool. I'm just doing a little plug for this in this session as well. It's the Starting to Review a Protocol tool. You need to log in first and then come back here and hit Start a Review. So DMP tool, we've customized it and we have a customized template in here for protocol development. This is separate from what DMP tool normally is and is used for, like I talked about earlier. But if you have any questions about this, reach out to us. I just wanted to put a little plug in for our new tools that we've launched. Let me go back here. And then I have time for questions, and we're going to go on and stop the recording. But I also want to put a little plug in for our survey. Please fill out our survey. Let us know how we did. Let us know if there's any sessions you'd like to see in the future. We do this every semester, fall and spring semester, and we're always trying to develop new materials. So if you have any requests, please let us know.